Okay, second vehicle is the CF van. It's a 1976. 1976, 1978. It's got registration for a 186. I think it was automatic, and a Toyota driver's seat. So this has had all the rust done on it. Well, 90% of the rust. There's a little bit on the doors. Didn't get to the doors, so there's a little bit like these window edges after blasting. That's the top of the front door under the windows rubber. So this has been points of rust done, what were visible. Basically got it as a van, so it had to be stripped. All interior out, all the rust that was showing, so cut out all the usual points. The front A pillars, lower around the rear window arches, wheel arches, sorry. Then, repairs done. Then, stuff like all this bracing, that all got removed. And then I went off to the sandblasters. So each day after blasting, I'd go down and put down a layer of epoxy straight on that fresh blasted steel, and then top coat it with this colour. It's quite a nice colour. See, in 2020, quite a few factory cars were coming out with this colour, so it's kind of modern. I reckon they're just copying me. So that's the inside of the roof is done as well. The roof itself, somebody had been over it with a grinder on an angle grinder, left little chips everywhere, and gouges and scratches and you name it. I think the roof alone probably came to shop hours of $7,500 just to get the roof back to a reasonable standard. Rust alone, I can't remember what the actual shop cost was, because I've done it in sections. There was a painted grille. After getting it back from the sandblasters, like it was in this top coat colour, and extra rust repairs were able to be done. What the sandblaster found, and that was mainly around the driver's floor, little bits underneath. All the step wells were realigned from where people had jacked them up before and crushed them. Both this side, probably can't see, but yeah, you can kind of see she's pretty straight, and the far side over there is pretty much. I've made a very straight vehicle. Side door needs attention. Rust on the top of the passenger door. I can't get over to the driver's door at this stage. See if I can squeeze through there. There's a wiring loom. That's a brand new wiring loom. As you can tell, I'm in storage. I've been very ill. Everything's had to go into storage. Driver's door, there's no rust at the top where they usually rust out. I think it's a pretty good door. Maybe there's a few dents. I went to Huntley to pick those up. So brake boosters in, there's brand new brake lines throughout the whole thing. There's power steering, disc brakes. The whole front axle has been removed, stripped. sandblasted, epoxied, top coated, had mounts made for a V8. So this was going to be a V8 with Ford 9-inch in it, disc brakes all round, and the V8's been sold. So I had to do a little bit of mucking around with the top. This one looks like I didn't muck around with it too much, and that one I can't really see. Maybe if I turn it, yeah, looks like I cut into the mount to get the straight six to sit in there. So that's not too much of a muck round. One thing I've forgotten is to put the inner bush in the there's a steel sleeve that goes inside this bush. They got pressed without the sleeve that goes in there, then assembled. That's my bad. I'm not a mechanic. You can see on the front here they usually rust out in here. It's all pretty good. LED lights, colour coded bumpers, Frenched in some LED front smoke, hazed indicators, wiring loom, windscreen wiper is installed. So what needs to happen on this? Needs reassembling, needs the side door, front door, bonnet painted. There's a few dents in the side door. There's seat bases. The front dash pad, I've made the backing out of fiberglass. See down on the bottom floor there behind that reel, there's a short bit with a curve in it, and that's for just on the side of the drivers here. There's a set of seats that go on rails. Somebody installed them and drilled 30 odd holes in the floor without checking the legal requirements of what it takes to actually install rear seats in a van. It's an easy enough finish. The holes are there, but all these seats on the rails, they all slide forward, so you can still have a decent amount of cargo space with the seats folded up and shifted forward. There's a set of swivel seats out of an old camper that can be modified to suit on the front seat bases, so you can have swivel seats. Squeeze. Oh, you can just get through there. There's two 10-inch subs, maybe three with that extra fusion one. There's a 1,000-watt amp. There's a couple of amps in there actually. A few parts of another vehicle. There's all the heater. These are front door window channels, Bailey's channels, heater ducting. These have all been through a bead blaster. This is actually a box of R.C.R rubber kit. So it's not the clip type, unfortunately. It's a glue-on type. There's bags of rubber grommets and bushes, torsion bar bushes, dash pad. Yeah, I know there is a rubber kit, but it's not flash. R.C.Rs need to do a bit more homework and put out a better product as far as I'm concerned. The registration. There's gas 953. There's torsion bars they need to go in. So there's new bushes on them. All that's been blasted, painted and epoxy, then top coat. There's sound deadening on the floor. There's the engine cover for this. It's one of the ones that I make. It's a large one to suit the V8. So it's actually quite a big engine cover. You can see up there, that's the size difference between the two of them. This one being a straight 6, that one being V8 anything. What's on the shelves in here, there's fiberglass molds, and I don't know, once upon a time I was going to find the time and energy to do a front lip for these. There's a Mark II steel bumper that's been blasted, rust done, bogged, filled. I actually made a mold off it, so it's actually really straight. On top of here there's window wipers, sorry. Yeah, that's that bumper in there. That's a really straight bumper. Has some primer. Want 400 for that, and that's basically a workshop days labour. So I've had workshop days labour to get a guy to do that filler work for me. Then I had to put hours into it. There's blasting charges. There's it's already, before you know it, adds up, and it's actually at $800. I only want $400 for it. There's more boxes of stuff, probably not related to this van, but there's handbrake cables, there's cables for heater, they go through the front here. Can't remember. This motor was a runner, etc. So, and 3-speed auto. Diff in this is a standard diff. I don't know the ratio. I don't remember which van it was out of now. I've wrecked that many of them. There's interior panels on rear doors and front doors. Modern set of seats. Quite a lot of stereo, etc. Down there I started a new instrument cluster with all the modern gauges. Rear lights have been Frenched in. They're all LED, what have you. So you've got stop, tail, park, reverse. So you'll be able to see behind you because these don't have reverse lights on them. I've got typically they don't, or if they do, they're pretty piss poor. An indicator. That's just rubbish. Yeah, I suppose 186202 torque converter, not torque converter, flywheel cover. There's a front for a CF2. That's a good one, rust free. So there's stuff like these back hinges, like they've all been blasted, and behind there's probably rust cut out of here, and painted in the top coat. Then new pins put in. This, I'd say that, knowing me, I would have painted this surface, then taken the cleaned up hinges on and sealed in behind there, put them back on, and then aligned the doors, and then painted the exterior again. So after it was painted at the sandblasters, I still had to do filler work. So basically you've got a painted surface. Some areas I only had the first initial coat, and other areas have had bog work done on it, and then another 2 coats of top coat. All the seam sealing, I've made a really nice job of that. Started at midnight, went to about 7 or 8 in the morning. So that's, up in these top channels, down these seams, front A pillars, made a really, you can't tell I've been there. went over the whole vehicle, inside the drip rail here, so that was all cleaned out. And it's got a nice new bead of urethane throughout the back there. I've put drainage holes on all four corners, instead of relying on this one or whenever you go around a corner. So if it's sitting outside, it's not going to sit there with water sitting in a drip rail. There's plenty of parts for this. I know these videos are a little bit long, but that's what's for sale. There's been an extreme amount of money spent on this van. I've ended up with it due to unpaid work in my workshop, etc., etc. They owed me a bit of money, and at the end of the day, this is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. I dare to get the money back is a long shot, because it ain't going to happen. But it's a damn good project, and it's, I'm not going to give it away, but I really, really need to sell it. Same with the ute. It's got to be sold as well. There's a Ford 9-inch there with disc brakes and electronic handbrake. It's completely overhauled, and the modifications by the engineer done on it. I think about $15,000 was spent on just that diff alone. Obviously it had to come out of the vehicle, it had to be cleaned with all the gunk off it, pulled apart. The spring hangers had to be swapped in from another one. All the bearings, seals inside there have all been replaced. So it's an overhauled unit. I need a drink of water. Again, like I try and recoup whatever costs I can off this stuff. I need this shed empty, and I need this shed empty. There's 5 grills up there in pretty good condition. Swivel seats. There's disc brake setups, 186 or Holden intake manifold, heater core. The glass, the rear glass on this, there was all sorts of different heights and different type of windows going on. So all that's been remedied so that they're pretty uniform, but new glass needs to be made. And I'd say that these edges, to do it right, it would have to be trimmed the whole way around to a uniform, to suit the whole vehicle, and new glass made for it if glass is going back in. But at this stage I've left the flange there so that if windows do get panelled in, there's a flange to glue new sheet metal on. The wiring loom run through the top, so up the A pillar and along the top here, and drop down for these rear lights instead of running it underneath. Fuel tank's obviously been out, that's all been blasted and painted. There's an electronic fuel pump for sender unit. So the wiring has to accumulate the electronic fuel sender and the electronic handbrake. So you need somebody with a bit of smarts that understands it. All the rest is self-explanatory. I think the wiring loom itself has actually got what things are for each fuse and each wire printed on the wire. Sure that's right. So if we look on this, it's like, can you see that? Turn the light off. So it's printed on the wire. Yeah, it's on there. You see, standard brake power. So that'll go to your rear brake light. So it's quite a good loom. Obviously, with new lights all around it and a new wiring loom, you won't have trouble with it wondering where that dead short is. Pretty common in a Bedford. Anyway, I'll end this video.